Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, or Mahatma Gandhi as he is better known, stands as one of the most influential figures of the 20th century. Born on October 2, 1869, in Porbandar, India, Gandhi's journey from a young lawyer to the leader of the Indian independence movement is nothing short of extraordinary. His life was a testament to the power of perseverance, humility, and unwavering faith in the principles of truth and nonviolence. His philosophy of nonviolent resistance, satyagraha, inspired movements for civil rights and social justice across the globe. This unique approach to resistance was not just a political strategy, but a way of life for Gandhi. He believed that true change could only come through peaceful means, and his commitment to this principle was unwavering, even in the face of severe adversity. From the Indian independence struggle to the American civil rights movement, Gandhi's teachings resonated with those fighting for freedom and equality. Leaders like Martin Luther King Jr. and Nelson Mandela drew inspiration from Gandhi's methods, applying his principles to their own struggles against oppression and injustice. His influence extended far beyond the borders of India, touching the hearts and minds of people worldwide. His simple life, marked by austerity and self-discipline, earned him widespread admiration and the title Mahatma, Great Soul. Gandhi's commitment to living a life of simplicity was not just symbolic. It was a deliberate choice to align his lifestyle with his values. He believed that true freedom could only be achieved through self-reliance and self-discipline, and he practiced what he preached by wearing simple khadi clothing and spinning his own yarn. Gandhi's image, etched on our minds and countless photographs, is one of a frail yet determined man, clad in simple khadi, leading his people to freedom. His physical frailty belied a strength of character and willpower that inspired millions. Gandhi's leadership was not about commanding from above, but walking alongside his followers, sharing in their struggles and triumphs. His unwavering commitment to nonviolence, even in the face of brutal oppression, challenged the world to find peaceful solutions to conflict. Gandhi's approach to conflict resolution was revolutionary in its simplicity and effectiveness. He demonstrated that it was possible to stand up to injustice without resorting to violence, and his legacy continues to inspire movements for peace and justice around the world. He remains an icon of peace and a symbol of hope for a world torn by violence and injustice. Gandhi's vision of a world where conflicts are resolved through dialogue and mutual respect is more relevant today than ever. His teachings remind us that peace is not just the absence of war, but the presence of justice and equality. However, like all historical figures, Gandhi was a complex individual, a product of his time and context. His views and actions were shaped by the social, political, and cultural milieu of his era. Understanding Gandhi requires us to look beyond the myth and examine the man in all his complexity. While his contributions to humanity are undeniable, his life and legacy are not without controversy. Gandhi's views on race, caste, and gender have been the subject of much debate and criticism. Some of his actions and beliefs, seen through the lens of contemporary values, appear contradictory and problematic. This essay delves into the less explored aspects of Gandhi's life, revealing a man not without flaws and contradictions. By examining these aspects, we gain a more nuanced understanding of Gandhi as a human being, rather than an infallible icon. His struggles, mistakes, and growth are all part of his legacy. We will examine his views on race, caste, and even his personal life, aspects that have drawn criticism and sparked debate. These discussions are essential for a comprehensive understanding of Gandhi's impact and relevance. They allow us to appreciate his achievements while also acknowledging the areas where he fell short. This is not an attempt to diminish his achievements, but rather to understand the man in his entirety, acknowledging both his greatness and his shortcomings. By doing so, we honor Gandhi's legacy in a way that is honest and respectful, recognizing that even the greatest leaders are human with all the complexities that entails. In July 1939, as the world stood on the brink of war, tensions were escalating across Europe. The ominous clouds of conflict were gathering, and the world was anxiously watching the developments. Amidst this turmoil, Gandhi, the apostle of peace, penned a letter to Adolf Hitler. Addressing him as "dear friend," Gandhi's choice of words was deliberate, aiming to reach out to the humanity within Hitler. Gandhi appealed to Hitler's conscience, urging him to reconsider his path of violence and aggression. He wrote, with a sense of urgency and hope, that the world was on the precipice of a catastrophic war. Gandhi's letter was not just a plea, but a profound reflection of his philosophy. It is quite clear that you are today the one person in the world who can put an end to a war which may reduce humanity to the savage state. The letter, intercepted by the British authorities and never delivered, remains a poignant reminder of a missed opportunity for peace. This letter reveals a fascinating aspect of Gandhi's worldview. It reflects his unwavering belief in the power of nonviolence and dialogue, even when dealing with a dictator responsible for unimaginable atrocities. Critics argue that such an approach was naive and misguided, given Hitler's ideology and ambitions. They point out that appealing to the conscience of a dictator like Hitler was futile and demonstrated a lack of understanding of the gravity of the situation. However, Gandhi's supporters see it differently. They argue that his letter was not a sign of weakness, but a testament to his unwavering faith in the power of human empathy. They see it as a courageous act, a bold attempt to reach out to the better nature of even the most ruthless individuals. This act of writing to Hitler was a moral stand against fascism and violence, even if it meant appealing to a seemingly heartless tyrant. Gandhi's letter, though never read by Hitler, continues to be a symbol of the enduring struggle for peace and the belief in the transformative power of nonviolence. It serves as a reminder that even in the darkest times, there are voices that call for compassion and understanding, striving to change the course of history through peaceful means. Gandhi's journey towards becoming the Mahatma began in South Africa, where he spent over 2 decades fighting against racial discrimination. It was here that he first encountered the harsh realities of colonial rule and the systemic oppression faced by people of color. The young lawyer who had come to South Africa to practice law soon found himself embroiled in the struggle for civil rights. His experiences as a young lawyer facing prejudice and segregation ignited his passion for social justice and shaped his philosophy of satyagraha. This philosophy, which means truth force or soul force, became the cornerstone of his approach to nonviolent resistance. Gandhi's legal battles and his interactions with the local community were instrumental in developing his ideas about justice and equality. However, Gandhi's views on race during this period have been a subject of much debate and criticism. While he fought against the injustices faced by Indians, his stance towards Black South Africans was complex and often contradictory. His early writings and speeches reflect a mindset that was influenced by the prevailing racial attitudes of the time. In his early writings and speeches, he made statements that appear to place Indians above Black Africans in the racial hierarchy. These statements have been scrutinized by historians and scholars who seek to understand the evolution of his thoughts on race and equality. Gandhi's initial approach was to seek better treatment for Indians within the existing colonial framework, rather than challenging the system as a whole. He referred to Black South Africans using derogatory terms prevalent at the time, and argued for the social and political separation of Indians from the native population. This aspect of his early activism has led to a re-examination of his legacy, particularly in the context of his later work in India, where he championed the cause of the untouchables and fought against caste discrimination. These statements, seen in the context of his later fight against untouchability in India, paint a complex picture. It suggests that Gandhi's understanding of social justice was evolving, influenced by his experiences and the changing political landscape. His time in South Africa was a period of learning and growth, which laid the foundation for his future activism. Some scholars argue that Gandhi's views on race evolved over time, influenced by his experiences and interactions with people of different backgrounds. They believe that his later writings and actions demonstrate a shift towards a more inclusive understanding of equality and justice. This evolution is seen as a testament to his ability to learn and adapt his beliefs in response to new experiences. They point out that he later renounced his earlier views and actively fought against all forms of racial discrimination. His leadership in the Indian independence movement and his advocacy for the rights of marginalized communities in India reflect a broader commitment to social justice that transcended his earlier limitations. Others, however, argue that these early writings reveal a deep-seated prejudice that he never fully confronted. They contend that while Gandhi's later work was significant, it did not entirely erase the problematic aspects of his early views on race. This perspective invites a more nuanced understanding of his legacy, acknowledging both his contributions and his shortcomings. They argue that his fight against racial discrimination was primarily focused on improving the status of Indians in South Africa, not on dismantling the system of racial hierarchy itself. This critique highlights the importance of examining historical figures in their entirety, recognizing their achievements while also critically assessing their limitations and biases. Back in India, Gandhi grappled with the deeply entrenched caste system. He condemned the practice of untouchability, the segregation and discrimination faced by those considered outcasts within the Hindu social order. He called them Harijans, children of God, and dedicated much of his life to improving their social standing. However, Gandhi's approach to caste was complex and often contradictory. While he fought against untouchability, he did not advocate for the abolition of the caste system itself. He believed in the Varna system, a theoretical division of society based on occupation, which many argue provided the framework for the discriminatory caste system. Gandhi's views on intercaste marriage also drew criticism. He believed that intercaste marriages should ideally occur within the framework of the Varna system, a stance seen as perpetuating caste divisions rather than dismantling them. His focus on reforming the caste system from within, rather than advocating for its complete abolition, has been a point of contention among scholars and activists alike. While Gandhi's efforts undoubtedly brought the plight of the untouchables to the forefront of the national consciousness, his complex and often contradictory stance on caste remains a subject of debate, a stain on his otherwise shining legacy.